have this extreme growth in the dirtiest fuels, both in terms of carbon footprint and in terms of the risk and the amount of environmental destruction that it takes to get them out of the ground and the damage that they're doing once they get into the atmosphere. The markets in the United States for oil are declining. The markets that are growing are on the other side of the ocean. The producers of that fuel are looking for ways to move it out of the center of the continent, and that means more pipelines, oil by rail.
Well, Washington State is very challenged because we have oil trains, about 2 trains a day going through our state, and it's going through every major metropolitan area, and that's going to increase over the next several years to 10 trains a day.
I get calls every day, people saying, well, Mr. Malonis, how much oil are you going to move through Washington State? It's driven by the customer. It's impossible to predict. If more facilities are built, there will be more oil that's going to move on rail. As a common carrier under U.S. law, we're obligated to move all types of freight. So we can't say no to a load of oil and yes to a load of tennis shoes. Each train can take an average of up to 230, even up to 500 trucks off the roadway per train. Through the Bellingham area every day we can run 20 trains a day. That's a lot of trucks that we're taking off of the roadways.
There's a plethora of issues that affect us with the subject of the oil trains. You look at the amount of traffic that's coming, the increase of the traffic, the stability of the crude, the lack of first responders per population. If you look at us in Whatcom County, I know in emergency management we're currently at a staffing position that would be equivalent to what it was in 1983. So we, don't have a huge, army of first responders to go out and meet, any kind of challenge that we have in the community. So that is definitely an issue for us as far as, how you can respond and the people you can bring in to respond.
I can tell you from Spokane to Vancouver to Bellingham, people feel at risk. And so the issue is really, if you think about Washington State, we're a trading state with lots of ports and train tracks that run right to those ports or through these communities. So I think you really have to understand that practically every community in our state is going to be impacted, but clearly those that the trains are at grade crossings right in the downtown area are the big ones.
One of our major concerns is the threats that are posed from the derailment of the trains, the refineries adjacent to our reservation, and the catastrophes that create tremendous concern for us and for our people and for the Lummi Nation as a whole. The railroad crosses right over the entryway of the gateway to our reservation.
We believe we need a much more assertive and effective approach to both prevent derailments and have a better response in the event that they do occur. And that needs to happen both at the state and federal level. On our state level, we need to have more aggressive action. We've passed a bill that unfortunately doesn't go as far as I would like it to go on safety. And the federal government needs to take some additional actions as well. We know we're going to have to reduce our consumption of fossil fuels in order to keep carbon dioxide from acidifying Puget Sound and continuing this very concerning climate change that we're experiencing with all of the forest fires and lack of snow and lack of water that we now are seeing firsthand. So there's a short-term, visually compelling problem, which is our exploding trains, and there is a long-term, slow and mostly invisible toxicity to the climate and our waters associated with this product.
When you're dealing with any kind of catastrophic event, the best investment to make is at the local level, because that gives the people at the origin of the incident the ability, the training, the funding to respond in a very robust fashion. Whereas, again, if I try to do everything top down, it only slows things. And in a catastrophic event that's very dynamic, top down is too slow to respond. It has to be from the bottom up.
We train our employees, we monitor the movement of our trains, we have detection programs, we have strict inspection programs. All eyes are on these movements because there have been some unfortunate incidents. We've learned from those in the industry as a whole. 2 have happened on our railroad in the past 2.5, 3 years that we began moving this new concept of unit oil trains, where you have 100 to 110 loaded cars of oil coming out of the Bakken. Public will say, well, geez, there's been 2 incidents on BNSF. What are you doing about that? Aren't you concerned? We are concerned, and we're experts, and we learn from every incident that occurs.
As we spent more and more time with this issue and looking through the accidents that we've witnessed, we've seen almost an accident a month in 2015. Much of the effort to improve rail safety for transport of hazardous goods, in this case we're really talking about oil trains, has failed. And the facts on the ground seem to indicate that there's really no safe way to run giant oil trains. At the point that you reached a safe level of transporting oil by rail, you would be going so slow and in tank cars that are so heavy that it would destroy the economics of it.